Welcome viewers to this NPTEL course on educational leadership. So, in the last class we are discussing about innovative pedagogy and technology and its uses in the teaching learning process. So, we have already discussed about collaborative learning, team learning and its benefits and advantages. So, today we will discuss about one more technique, that is called the project based learning technique. So, project based learning technique, it is also similarly similar to that kind of team learning or the collaborative learning. So, let us find out its individual characteristics, features of project based learning. So, in this project based learning classroom, students are allowed to investigate the questions, propose the hypothesis and explanations, argue for their ideas, challenges the new ideas, etc. So, in the project based classroom, students are exposed to different kinds of questions and they are allowed to pick up any of these questions and investigate. And while investigating, they propose different kinds of hypotheses, formulate different hypotheses and put forth their strategies, their explanations, argue for their ideas and state their views and challenges the new ideas, like in terms of the new mechanisms, new strategies they are offering. So, they challenge these things and any other new ideas. So, they also challenge those new ideas. So, students are engaged in the real meaningful problems that are important to them, could attain better learning outcomes. Students are engaged in real and meaningful problems. The problems are usually are not very vague or irrelevant, but rather they are real life problems. They are engaged in active meaningful problems, which is all problems are very authentic, it is very meaningful to our real life situations, and it appears to be very important. And while analyzing this kind of problem, like they get better learning, better knowledge acquisition. Like for example, suppose the problem is like they have been asked like you just design a smart village, okay, designing a smart village with 24/7 energy, electricity power and energy, energy sources, water sources and health facilities. So, you just design a smart village with all these three characteristic features, with 24/7 electricity or the energy power sector is there, energy is there, and water as a resources would also be there. 24 people should get the 24/7 waters and health facilities, so minimum. So, with how to fulfill these three criteria in the context of designing a smart village. So, this is a real life problem, the problem becomes very authentic. So, they start actively thinking, planning and hypothesizing and formulating the strategies, like how to design a smart village, where from to get the energy sources and how to make it sustainable, and again how to ensure the water is there for 24 hours and what is the source of water, and then how to use it sustainably, then again health facilities and how to establish the health facilities, what should be the that means the points, and how to develop the network, so that we can connect all these three things, water, then health facilities and the energy, all these three combined we can develop network. So, and what is the population of that village, then what should be the other infrastructure, and how to ensure that people use all these resources, get these resources, but again use it sustainably. So, it is a kind of real life problem which relates to our life, our existence, our environment, etc. So, project based learning starts with driving a questions and problem to be solved. So, in such situation, if we give them some kind of problem or the question which relates to our real life situation or the problems we are facing, it becomes very authentic and they start actively thinking about it. So, they focus on the learning goals and demonstration of the mastery learning. So, while trying to answer the questions or solving the problems, so they focus on learning gains at the same time and demonstrate mastery learning. Unless and until they focus on the learning goals, they cannot acquire the knowledge and the skills and the competencies for achieving that goal, and they cannot demonstrate the mastery of the learning. So, in order to in order to demonstrate it, in order to physically make it possible and manifest it, in whichever way they design the hypothesis, they design the hypothesis or formulate the strategies, they have to not only acquire the sub skills, competencies, etc., they have to exhibit, demonstrate the mastery learning things also. The students explore the driving question through participation in problem solving process and engage in collaborative work. So, from the one question, one big question, from the one problem, they also try to explore the many of the sub questions, many of the tertiary questions, many of the other sub task related questions, and they try to explore it through participation or active engagement in the problem solving process, and they engage themselves in the collaborative activities. So, the problem is not, even though they have identified the problem, so but they prefer to work together in a collaborative setup. So, in the collaborative setting, when they are discussing about the question, they explore the sub questions, then again they engage in active analysis of the problems, the adjacent problems, the sub problems, the sub tasks, the resources, and how to join it. So, they engage themselves in the collaborative activities. They scaffold, they are scaffolded with learning technologies with the help of the tutors and the mentors. But yes, even though they work in the collaborative learning situation, are engaged in collaborative activities, but tutors and mentors are there to support them, to facilitate them through scaffolding with technology. So, their tutors are also there to help them out in learning the new skills or in developing the new perspective through the help of technology, through the help of other tools. So, students are engaged in scientific practice and create a set of tangible products. So, in this collaborative learning or in this project based learning, students are engaged in scientific practices. The practices, the techniques, the strategies they use, which are very scientific and authentic, and ultimately they create a set of tangible products, the products which are valuable, which are usable, which are tangible, and share the artifacts, external representatives, whatever they have developed. Maybe they have developed some model, maybe they have developed some software, maybe that they have developed some kind of gadget. So, they exhibit it, they show it off. So, they share the products and share the artifacts, external representations of their constructive knowledge. So, how they have accumulated knowledge, how they have gathered the experience, how they have conceptualized, how they have developed this comprehensive model of artifact, they exhibit it, they demonstrate it. The next, another type of thing is the problem based learning. So, problem based learners, they collaborate in understanding, solving the complex and ill structured problems. So, it is, you can say it is very much similar to that kind of project based learning also. All the project based learning, problem based learning, it also involves a collaborative learning. But in problem based learning, one thing is that the learners collaborate in understanding and solving the complex problem, but the problem itself is very ill structured. It is not very clear, it is not very specific, it is not very specific in terms of its context, etc. So, the problem is ill structured, it is a complex in nature, and the learners, they have started to collaborate, started to understand the whole thing by collaborating with each other in the group context. So, the goals of PBL addresses the large range of cognitive and affective dimensions. So, again the first thing is that the problem itself is very complex and ill structured, hence it needs to be explored in terms of its complexity, in terms of its dimensions, in terms of its resources, in terms of its causes, in terms of its factors affecting it. So, the PBL primarily focuses on how to unfold, how to uncover, how to unfold these dimensions, these causes, the causal factors, the sources, all kinds of things. So, it involves all kinds of cognitive, that is intellectual exercises, as well as the affective dimensions, like in terms of interest, motivation, involvement among the learners. So, students productively engage in deep approaches to learning and problem solving. So, here this kind of complex problem, which is very superficial, which is very complex, which is very ill structured, it cannot be resolved, it cannot be solved with superficial kind of knowledge or with kind of any kind of surface learning approach, but rather it requires deep learning approach. So, here you have to go to the depth of that in depth of the complexity of that problem, to that means to analyze it, you can say to to further diagnose it in terms of its causal factors, etiological factors, then the background, its history, its the sources of information and all kinds of critical dimensions to that means. So, it requires a kind of in-depth analysis, can say deep learning approach. So, again in a PBL the students are required to share their current knowledge, negotiate among the alternative ideas and to construct the principal arguments to support their proposed solutions. Like other collaborative learning techniques also, here the students, all the partners of the students, they are ready to, they have to quickly readily share their knowledge, existing knowledge, current knowledge. So, they are required to share their current knowledge, then negotiate among the alternative ideas, like they have to actively listen to others proposals, their plans and perspectives, then exchange their thoughts and ideas, then negotiate among these alternative ideas, like which idea would be more feasible, would be more cost effective, would be more authentic, etc. like this, and to construct the principled arguments. Then again to design some guidelines, principles and the guidelines, to chalk down some of the basic principles, guidelines under which they can slowly move ahead, progress. So, construct the principal arguments to support their proposed solution. If when they are engaged in the debate and dialogue, like finding out which one would be the best one, which approach will be the most effective one, etc. So, they have to argue in favor of their own views, own ideas, own thoughts, etc., and to prove it that yes, it is more useful and authentic and beneficial. So, by citing the logic, citing the evidence of its cost effectiveness, or stating the arguments in favor of their ideas in a logical manner, in a very scientific manner, in a very objective manner. So, they can propose their solutions and strategies in a very logical manner by putting their arguments in support of their ideas. Students engage with active thinking and develop the skills in reasoning. So, when they put forth their ideas, try to defend their ideas, try to prove that their ideas are very effective or cost effective or less time consuming or more fruitful, or in terms of its benefit is more beneficial, etc., etc. In that process, they develop reasoning skills, rational thinking skills, while by being engaged in the active thinking. So, and again it becomes very self-directed learning and constructive flexible knowledge. So, again it moves towards self-directed learning, because they get motivated to explore themselves by being an independent learner. So, they give the direction to their own learning experiences and engage in the constructive flexible knowledge acquisition, like they construct the knowledge, flexible knowledge, by actively being engaged in the learning process and being self-directed in their learning behavior. Then problem based learning, again it enhances students ability to transfer the knowledge to the new problems. So, not only it makes them very flexible in constructing the knowledge, giving the self direction towards their learning behavior, but also it helps them in actively thinking about the new opportunities, the new situations, the new opportunities, or in case of the new problems, how this kind of exercises, practices and behavior can help them in resolving the new problems also. So, regarding the transfer of knowledge also, they become very adaptive, and they become very innovative as well. So, PBL also stimulate the students' intrinsic interest in the subject matter. So, it also stimulate the students' intrinsic interest, their inherent interest, or you can say implicit interest for being motivated towards a particular subject matter, because they are actively engaged and they face the challenges and they get satisfaction out of those challenges while taking up the challenging tasks. So, it enhances, it stimulates the students' intrinsic interest in the subject matter through certain techniques, like through activation of the prior knowledge, whatever they have already acquired. So, they recollect it, so recapitulate it and put forth before others. So, that is the activation of prior knowledge. So, they actively try to recollect, recapitulate, remember the whole things, the past learning, past knowledge, past learning experiences, etc. They try to make it more comprehensive and put it before others. That is activation of prior knowledge. Recall of information, yes, they definitely recall the past learning experiences and knowledge. Cumulative reasoning. So, when they are engaged in logical thinking, rational thinking, they keep on adding these things in a cumulative way, not in the very discrete manner, but in a very additive and cumulative manner. So, they add their logical reasoning, and on the basis of that sometimes they build up their own theory also. Theory building, it helps them in theory building, and cognitive conflicts leading to conceptual change. So, when they are engaged in debate, dialogue and communication and discussion about discussion or critical appraisal of different schemes and strategies, etc., when they are engaged in cognitive conflicts, it also strengthens their conceptual knowledge, in the sense that, like at the end when they agree that yes, this scheme is cannot be successful because of these fallacies, or this is not the proven technique, this and that. So, after that they change their own conceptual understanding about the concept also. So, it brings also some kind of conceptual or structural changes in their schema or the concepts. So, and again collaborative learning construction. So, collaborative, it also enhances the collaborative learning construction. So, all these processes are the outcomes of the active engagement. So, when the students, learners are actively engaged in all kinds of activities, so they take interest, they take keen interest, or you can say intrinsic interest in taking up the subject, taking up the new projects, taking up the problems, because they find satisfaction out of it. So, here we can have a look of this table. Like suppose this is the problem scenario. It leads towards the identify the facts, like to identify its dimension, perspectives, facts, causal factors, etiological factors, etc. Then on the basis of its sources, facts, information, etc., then we generate the hypothesis, multiple hypotheses, like why did it happen, who has initiated this, what is its history, what would be the, how it has affected the other affected the environment or the people or this thing. So, on the basis of its etiological factors, then we generate different hypotheses. Hypothesis number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Again, from there then we identify the knowledge gaps or the learning issues. So, we generate different hypotheses, then try to examine the authenticity of these hypotheses in terms of finding out the knowledge gaps or the learning issues. From these hypotheses, what we have learned, how it can be implemented, executed. What are the knowledge gaps are there and the learning issues are there, then we identify it. From there again engage in the self-directed learning. So, as we have already discussed, we have to engage in active knowledge acquisition learning. So, engage in the self-directed learning and to construct and reconstruct our own knowledge, then thereafter apply the new knowledge to the problem. So, whatever solution we get, the strategies we formulate, then we apply it to the new knowledge and the problem. Then we evaluate its efficacy, and after evaluation then we reflect upon it, and then with modification or without modification, whatever we have found that this is the most effective one, then we again apply it in the future situation. So, we can say it is these are the steps of the problem solving situation or any problem based learning situation. So, these are some of the strategies explained by these authors, like strategies, how the strategies can help the problem based learning in terms of revoicing the things, summarizing the whole things, evaluate how to evaluate the hypothesis, like help the students to focus on their inquiry, etc. These are some of the strategies given here, and map between the symptoms and hypothesis, then cleaning up the board. So, creating the learning issues and encourage the construction of the visual representation. So, this is the table of a set of strategies which can facilitate this problem based learning. So, now we will discuss about next aspect, that is the web based learning. Now, in this ICT age, so we are also getting the learning materials in terms of video recordings, in terms of course materials being uploaded in the websites and the portals. So, and through online instruction. So, there are different modes, both online and offline modes, through which we can get the learning materials. So, web based learning is one such technique. Web based learning is one such techniques where the presentation of lessons through multimedia material like text, animation, graphics, video and sound, all these things are being uploaded in the website. In the website, we can find out all these materials. The lessons have been prepared through multimedia material like with text, animation, graphics, etc. So, the lessons, the topics, the content have been designed and prepared, well prepared with the help of the multimedia material, and these are already uploaded in the website itself. So, learning resource materials like downloadable lecture notes. So, when all these materials, course materials, learning materials have been uploaded in the website, so we can easily have the we can easily have access, we can easily get all these materials downloadable, or we can have easy access to all these learning resource materials like downloadable lecture notes. All the lecture notes which have been uploaded in the website, we can download it at any point of time with our convenience, with our comfort. So, synchronous lecture videos are also there, homework problems. So, homework problems, course or the project outlines, technical support. So, additional reading materials, then the exams communication, evaluation tools, contact informations, group emails, collaborative learning, synchronous chat room, asynchronous discussion board, etc. So, in the web based learning, these are the characteristic features: easily downloadable lecture loads, synchronized video lectures are also there, homeworks, assignments have been given, course outlines are there, technical support are there. So, communication and evaluation tools are there, how your performance is going to be evaluated, contact informations are there to clarify your doubts, then the group mails and are there for the collaborative learnings, and the synchronous chat rooms are there. All kinds of discussion forums, both online and offline, are available in the in the web portal. So, the construction of knowledge through participation and reflection learning via internet. So, here the knowledge can be constructed and co-constructed through participation and reflection through internet, and internet has given us the accessibility to learn these materials, to easily download these materials and to have a discussion on the topics covered in the courses. So, greater focus on assigned learning task. With the information sources, some tasks are there, some assigned tasks, learning tasks are also there in this web portal, which primarily focuses on developing certain learning skills. So, greater focus on assigned learning tasks which have been given to the learner for the weekend assignment or the weekend assignment or quarterly assignment, etc., which focuses on learning certain skills. Now, students will be well equipped with the IT skills, but for this kind of course, web based courses, the students or the learners, they have to be very well equipped with the IT skill, information technology skill, ICT skills. They have to be very critical and they have to be very critical and the creative also in their thinking approach. Collaborative and communicative skills. So, students will be well equipped through this web based learning. They not only develop the IT skills, critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, but also develop the collaborative and communicative skills, because maybe that they have been assigned a group assignment and they have to collaborate with the other team members who are the virtual members, both at the synchronous chat room or asynchronous discussion forum. They have to communicate with each member, they have to collaborate with other members and complete the task. So, in this process, even though it is in the web portal, it also enhances the students' IT skill, critical thinking skill, collaborative skill, communicative skill, as well as the creative thinking skills. The software packages are already available. For packages for the web based collaborative learning are like Blackboard, Moodle is also there, Top Class, Web CT, Embedded, eCollege. These are some of the software packages for the web based collaborative learning, that is to facilitate the web based collaborative learning. That means through these softwares, how the group members, team members, the learners, they can collaborate with each other and complete the task. The software facilitates all this collaboration and the collective communication and the construction of knowledge. And in the web portal, the learning tasks, learning resources and the course contents are already there. So, ICT for supporting the learning of online courses for distance learning. Primarily, it is being used for the distance learning programs through multimedia resources. Multimedia resources are being used. E-conferencing, video conferencing also facilitates the discussion forums. Sometimes video streaming, live lectures are also being used for this web based courses. Then hyperlinks for the vast amount of web based information, like in the web portal, suppose vast volume of other information sources are there. So, this can be connected to the web portal, connected to the relevant course portal through web link, through hyperlink, through the hyperlink contacts. Then learning at one's own pace. So, here it also enables the learner to learn at his free time, at his own time, and to put him in his that is comfort zone, and he can take the liberty of completing the task with his in his relaxed time, with sufficient time, and in whichever whichever pace he wants to move on, the speed, the accuracy, it depends on him how he completes the task. Then 24/7 access to instructional materials, because the materials are there in the web portal, already it is there in the web portal. So, he can have 24/7 access to these materials. Training content tailored to different learning styles. So, these web courses are also being designed to cater to the learners needs of having different learning styles. So, training the content, training in case of some kind of training courses programs, the contents have been tailored according to the different learning styles of the learner, maybe that with all kinds of multimedia materials, like whether the learner is a visual learner, verbal learner, or haptic learner, what kind of learner, it can cater to their needs. Learning in a comfortable and relatively stress free environment. So, the individual learner can find his own time, get the liberty to have the access to the learning material through the internet, in the web, and can complete his assignment at his own pace. So, for training managers also, now these web based training programs also, it reduces the cost, reduces the cost and expenses, like a reduction in the expensive accommodation cost. So, when we designed a training program for professionals, for the teachers, for other for marketing people or any other professional groups. So, it reduce the costs, expenses for the accommodation, and increase the working capacity of the trainers, because the people will be less exhaustive in commuting or in traveling. So, it reduce the not only the expenses of accommodation cost and hotel cost and communication cost, etc., but it also increase the working capacity, and it also encouraging the active learning through authentic real world problem based assignments. So, it becomes very active. This kind of web based course become very interesting, very active when it involves any kind of authentic real world problems. So, then it becomes very encouraging, and the students get more motivated, because it simulates or it involves a real world problems and assignment. So, again encouraging the students, student faculty contact through email. So, they can have an human interaction, like the student faculty interaction through email, through phone, etc. So, it can be made more lively, or it involves the human communication and respective diverse talents and ways of learning. So, it also respects, it also promotes the diverse talents, different talents and different kinds of modes of learning, ways of learning. Like the faculty can encourage the students to express their views in the courses and incorporate learning experiences filled with the real life examples with a diverse perspective. So, as it is very open kind of platform, so the faculty while interacting with the students, they can also invite them, they can also encourage them to cite some of their real life experiences and share it with others, other learners, and incorporate these things in the course, and also to bring forth any kind of diverse perspective perspective, diverse in terms of diverse cultural perspective or diverse situational context, etc. So, it can also be incorporated to make it more interesting and lively. So, here we can see one YouTube video.
Using Powtoon.
So, here we have just finished this web based learning mode, the innovative pedagogy for 21st century learning. Now, in the next class we will discuss about a new topic, new pedagogy.